The rain
You look
hammered Portland's
incredible
downtown
tonight.
streets,
Not as
turning Friday
incredible as
evening
you.
into a blur of
I think we
headlights
should get
and wet
out of
pavement.
here.
Dante Marchesi stood in the Morrison Grand Hotel lobby watching a woman unravel at the reception desk. Margot Kensington, 36, CEO of a company she didn't know was corrupt. And in 72 hours if Dante followed orders, she would be dead. His phone had buzzed 20 minutes ago. 3 words from Luca Rossi, his underboss. She's at Morrison. Now Dante watched her grip the marble counter while the desk clerk delivered bad news. One suite left. Her colleague, the forensic accountant she'd hired, was arriving separately. They needed 2 rooms. Dante had called ahead using his consulting front. Margot Kensington believed she'd hired Lorenzo Castellano, independent auditor, to find the fraud bleeding her company dry. She had no idea Lorenzo Castellano was a fiction. That the man walking toward her now ran the East Coast's most sophisticated money laundering operation. That her company had been washing his drug money for 2 years. That Luca Rossi wanted her eliminated, tonight if possible. Miss Kensington, she turned, dark hair escaping from a professional twist. Shadows under her eyes like bruises. Cream blouse with sleeves rolled up, exhausted efficiency embodied. Their eyes met. Dante had killed men and felt nothing. But something in Margot Kensington's gaze stopped him cold. Recognition, not of who he was, but of something familiar. The same bone-deep weariness, the same shape of desperation in expensive clothes. Mr. Castellano, she said. Her voice held steady despite the tremor he noticed in her left hand. You made it. The desk clerk, Marcus, according to his name tag, looked relieved. So you're traveling together. We're colleagues, Margot clarified quickly. The distinction mattered. Then the suite would work, Marcus ventured. If you're planning to work through the weekend, Dante watched Margot calculate. She understood optics. A hotel room shared with a male consultant could become ammunition, but she also understood necessity. She turned to him. There's a couch. Yes, ma'am, a full sectional. Her gaze held his, measuring, searching for threat or safety. Dante kept his face neutral. He offered her one true thing: he wouldn't hurt her. Not tonight. The rest was still being decided. Why waste money on 2 rooms, Margot said finally. Level, controlled. You're right, Dante said quietly. I agree. Something flickered across her face, surprised that he hadn't argued. We take the suite, she told Marcus. Minutes later, they stood in an elevator climbing toward the penthouse. Dante held the door, sensor old-fashioned, courtesy his mother had drilled into him before the world taught him darker lessons. Thank you, Margot murmured. The suite was exactly as promised. Sitting area with storm view windows. Mahogany dining table. Kitchen. Through double doors at a bedroom with a king bed, Margot set her suitcase down. I'll take the couch. No, her eyebrows rose. I'm sorry, you're 5'7", I'm 6'2", basic geometry. He removed his coat with precise care. We have 72 hours to reconcile 4,000 pages of ledgers. You need sleep. The bedroom is yours, not a negotiation. She studied him. And you don't need sleep. I require approximately 4 hours. I'll work overnight sleep before dawn. Her mouth tightened, then relaxed. All right, but I'm buying room service. The corner of his mouth lifted. Not quite a smile. Deal. Tension shifted. Parameters established. Professional container created. Margot disappeared into the bedroom to change. Dante waited until the door clicked before exhaling fully. More complicated than anticipated. He'd expected competence, intelligence. But not this quiet presence, this ability to look at him without flinching. Most people flinched, even when they didn't know what he was. He unpacked methodically. Laptop, external drives, portable monitors, legal pad. His tools could excavate financial crimes like archaeologists unearthed bones. The dining table became command central. While systems loaded, he walked to the windows. Portland stretched below, lights blurred by rain. Somewhere down there, Luca was consolidating power, planning to eliminate loose ends. Margot Kensington was a loose end. Dante had modernized the Marchesi family, money laundering through luxury imports, protection disguised as consulting, influence through campaign donations, violence outsourced kept distant, but Luca represented old thinking, power through fear, fear through brutality. Luca thought Dante had gone soft. Luca was wrong. Dante wasn't soft. He was strategic. He could pull triggers when required. He simply preferred not to waste bullets. The bedroom door opened. Margot emerged in sweatpants and an oversized Stanford hoodie, hair down, younger without business armor. She set her laptop bag on the table. Where do we start? System access, Full transparency. As she logged in, Dante noticed her hands. No wedding ring. Brief marriage ended 4 years ago. Ex-husband was an investment banker who decided her dedication to the family business made her a poor prospect. The man was an idiot. The board flagged discrepancies 3 weeks ago, Margot said, pulling up spreadsheets. Wire transfers that don't match purchase orders. Vendors with disconnected numbers. Phantom vendors. Classic fraud. Shell companies billing for services never rendered. Exactly. Look at this. She highlighted a cluster. 5 invoices from Apex Logistics. Weekends only. Just under 10,000 each. Dante leaned in. Her shampoo, something clean, like rain on stones, reached him. He focused on numbers. Structuring payments to avoid audit triggers. 10,000 is standard board approval threshold. Stay under transactions, slip through. $50,000 missing. And that's just one vendor. Dante examined the PDFs. Tax IDs formatted correctly but meaningless. Digital ghosts. What Margot didn't know, these were Luca's creations. Not stealing from her company. Washing Marchese money. Drug proceeds laundered through fake invoices and legitimate banking. The problem Luca had started skimming. Taking cuts before returning, cleaned money to family coffers. That was the real crime. Not the laundering. Dante had authorized that. But theft from family betrayal. And betrayal required consequences. Can you pull wire transfer logs? Dante asked. While she navigated passwords, he studied her profile. The set of her jaw. How she bit her lip concentrating. The small crease between her eyebrows. She was fighting to save a company already corrupted. The tragedy she had no idea. Here, she turned the laptop. Routing information for Apex. Dante examined account numbers. His chest tightened. He recognized the sequence. Cayman Islands holding company Luca controlled. But secondary transfers, ones that should route back to Marchese accounts, were missing. Luca had stolen from the family. $250,000 minimum. Worse than expected. Lorenzo, Margot's voice pulled him back. Concern in her eyes. It took him a moment to remember she knew him as Lorenzo Castellano. Yes, I'm seeing a pattern. More organized than random theft. Someone internal, hope in her voice. A name to blame. A problem to fix. Almost certainly. True enough. Do you have internal communications emails between procurement and these vendors? She nodded, opening archives. While she searched, Dante's phone buzzed. Marco, his consigliere. Luca asking about your location. Not responding to calls. Dante typed one-handed, handling it. Radio silence 48 hours. Marco understood. Watch your back. Across the table, Margot had gone pale. What is it? She turned the screen. Email thread 8 months old. Sender Vincent Caruso, board chairman. Content, expedite payment to Apex Logistics without secondary verification. Time-sensitive opportunity. Dante's blood went cold. Vincent Caruso was Luca's cousin. This went deeper than anticipated. Luca hadn't just infiltrated. He'd placed family on Margot's board. Used Kensington Imports as a weapons platform aimed at Dante's control. Not embezzlement. A coup. Vincent insisted we hire you, Margot said quietly. He said we needed an outside auditor. She looked up, fear finally breaking through. He's setting me up. He'll use this audit to prove negligence. Then vote me out and take the company. Yes. No point lying. Margot walked to the windows, pressed her forehead against cold glass. My father built this from nothing. 40 years. He worked himself to death. Her voice cracked. 3 years and I'm losing it to thieves. Dante stood but didn't approach. You're not losing it, she laughed bitterly. Vincent controls 4 votes on a 7-member board. If he proves I missed this fraud, he removes me. Game over. Not if we get ahead of it. Dante kept his voice factual. 72 hours before Monday's board meeting, we build an airtight case. Document every transaction. By Monday morning, you walk in with proof Vincent authorized these payments. Turn the weapon around. She turned, city lights haloing her. Can we do that in 72 hours? We can try, but I need complete access, every file, every communication. No secrets. She searched his face. Finally nodded. Okay, no secrets. Irony burned. Dante stood wrapped in secrets like thorns, but he returned to the table. Q3 financial reports, depreciation schedules. They worked 3 hours in focused silence. Around midnight, Margot's stomach growled audibly. She pressed a hand to her midsection, embarrassed. Sorry, haven't eaten since the airport. 16 hours. Dante walked to the phone. Room service, I can, sit down. He dialed, ordered precisely. Oatmeal, banana, black coffee, turkey sandwich for himself. The food arrived 20 minutes later. He set oatmeal in front of her without ceremony. Eat. She looked at the bowl, then him. Do you order all your clients around? Only the ones running on empty. He pushed the banana toward her. You need calories. She picked up the spoon. How did you notice? I noticed details. Truth, observation kept him alive. Color returned to her face by degrees. Dante ate his sandwich, giving her space. After a few minutes, she slid a coffee cup toward him. Exactly how he took it. Black, no sugar. They ate in comfortable silence. Strange how quickly rhythm developed. He'd expected awkwardness, but there was ease here. Perhaps because exhaustion stripped pretense. Perhaps because work gave common ground. Or perhaps because Margot Kensington looked at him and didn't see a predator. She saw a consultant, problem solver, someone who might help. It was intoxicating and dangerous. As Dante cleared dishes, Margot caught his wrist, her fingers warm against his skin. Thank you for the food, for being here, for not making me feel stupid. Her hand lingered briefly before releasing. Dante felt the absence like cold water. You're not stupid. You're dealing with people skilled at deception. He had no idea how true those words were. They returned to work. At 2 a.m., Dante hit the wall he'd expected. The spreadsheet was chaos, deliberately obscured. Hidden columns, formulas designed to confuse. Not just fraud, active sabotage. Beside him, Margot had stopped typing. Reading the same paragraph repeatedly, eyes glazed. Margot, she blinked. What time did you wake up? 5. This on 6 a.m. flight. 21 hours awake. Dante closed his laptop decisively. You're done. We still have Q2, which I'll handle. He disconnected monitors. Your task for the next 6 hours is sleep. She summoned energy to argue. Lorenzo, you're billing $400 an hour. If you work cognitively impaired, that's breach of contract. Easier than admitting the truth, watching her collapse made his chest ache. Go to bed, Miss Kensington. War in her eyes. Executive versus exhausted human. Humanity won. Shoulders sagged. You're a dictator. I'm a strategist. Good night. She stood slowly, bones seeming to hurt. At the bedroom door, she paused, looked back. Dim lamplight caught her face. Exhaustion. Vulnerability. Strange trust she'd somehow decided to place in him. Thank you, she said softly, for not letting me panic. Something cracked in Dante's chest, a wall carefully constructed over decades, designed to keep people at precise distances, close enough to use, far enough to discard. I wouldn't let that happen, he said, most honest thing all night. She offered a small, tired smile, then disappeared. Door clicked shut. Dante stood alone, listened to rain, ventilation hum, water running in the bedroom, rustle of fabric, bed frame creaking as she finally rested. Then he pulled up the encrypted file he'd been avoiding. The truth was there, all of it. Money laundering operations through Kensington Imports, shell companies, wire transfers moving heroin money from corners to offshore accounts, and buried deepest, Luca's message to Vincent. After the audit, eliminate the Kensington woman. Suicide, grief over failed business, problem solved. Dante stared at those words. Two choices. Follow the plan. Let Vincent destroy Margot Monday. Let her lose the company. Then quietly let Luca's people handle the rest. Clean, efficient, organization continues uninterrupted. Or do something unforgivably stupid. Protect her. Dante closed the encrypted file, opened a new document, began typing. Line by line, he built the case that would save Margot Kensington. Evidence against Vincent. Proof of fraud. Timeline showing her as victim, not conspirator. Stupidest decision in 20 years. Would start war with Luca, expose operations. Cost him. But as he worked through darkness, pulling receipts and tracing wires and documenting Luca's betrayal, Dante realized something. He didn't care. Somewhere in 6 hours, Margot Kensington had become more than a problem. She'd become a person worth saving. And Dante Marchesi, Don of the Marchesi crime family enforcer strategist, very dangerous man, was going to save her, even if it cost everything. Rain continued. City lights blurred watercolor. In the bedroom, Margot slept while Dante worked building the case that would destroy him or redeem him. He wasn't sure which he preferred, but he knew which Margot deserved. At 6 a.m., pale gray light filtered through rain-streaked windows. Dante's phone buzzed. Luca again. Where are you, Vincent? Says the woman still at Morrison. Did you handle it? Dante stared at the message, then typed his response. Situation requires more time. We'll update Monday. Stalling tactic. Luca would see through it, but it bought 48 hours. 48 hours to shore up Margot's defenses, give her weapons to fight back. 48 hours to commit fully to this catastrophically stupid choice. He sent the message and returned to work. Behind the bedroom door, Margot stirred. Bed creaked. Footsteps crossed the floor. She would wake soon, and they'd continue building the case. Partners in a war she didn't understand. Dante saved his work and stood to make fresh coffee. The storm outside was breaking. But inside this suite, inside this strange alliance, another storm was forming. And Dante Marchesi, for the first time in his controlled life, had no idea how it would end. The bedroom door opened at 7 minutes past 6 Saturday morning. Dante didn't turn immediately. He finished the line extracting metadata from invoice files saved, then reached for the coffee pot. By the time Margot emerged, 2 ceramic mugs sat steaming on the table. She stopped when she saw them. Hair damp pulled in a loose braid, dark jeans, soft gray sweater, more real without business armor. You didn't sleep at all. 43 minutes in the chair, he gestured to a mug. Coffee. She picked it up, took a sip. Something flickered across her face, surprise. Exactly how she took it. Right, you noticed details. Q, 2 variances resolved. Dante turned his laptop toward her. Tracked remaining discrepancies to miscoded depreciation. Incompetence layered on fraud. She leaned over his shoulder. Close enough, he smelled her shampoo again. Rain on stones, uncorruptible things. Lorenzo, this is incredible. He'd found more than patterns, found proof Luca stole $273,000 from Marchesi coffers over 18 months. Wire transfers to personal accounts. Luxury purchases hidden in shell expenses. Boat registered to his girlfriend. Luca was a thief. In Dante's world, thieves paid permanent prices. But he couldn't tell Margot, so he simply nodded. We still need executive summary. Vincent will want narrative, not just numbers. As she opened her laptop, her phone buzzed. Email notification. Subject line visible. Urgent. Timeline change. Margot froze. Dante watched color drain from her face. What is it? Vincent. Voice hollow. The audit committee isn't waiting until Monday. Dante went still. Explain. She read aloud, hands trembling. Due to flight cancellations, the executive committee has unexpected availability. In efficiency's interest, we're moving the compliance review to Saturday, 1200 hours. Please ensure all documentation is uploaded by that time. Noon today, 5 hours. Dante's mind clicked through implications mechanically. Not about efficiency, Vincent accelerating because he knew Dante was here. Luca must have told him. They knew the audit was happening. They were panicking. Panicked men made mistakes, but also desperate moves. Margot stood abruptly. Chair scraped like a scream. She walked to windows, pressed palms flat against glass. Outside, rain had gentled, but sky remained iron-colored. 5 hours. Compile narrative link exhibits, cross-reference wires format for portal. Too much. Going to look desperate. Dante stayed seated. Let silence stretch exactly 3 seconds. Break her panic loop. Margot, look at me. She turned, eyes too bright, edge of something that might spill. Sit down. She hesitated, returned, sat, hands clasped white-knuckled. Dante leaned forward, voice completely devoid of panic. Panic was contagious. Margot needed calm like oxygen. We're not scrambling, we have truth. Truth doesn't need beautiful presentation. It needs undeniable chain of custody. He pulled a legal pad from his briefcase, clicked his pen, sharp, definitive. Step 1, block letters. 8 a.m. you email Vincent confirming receipt. Express enthusiasm for efficiency. Take away his ambush power by welcoming it. She swallowed hard. Okay, welcome the ambush. Step 2, line beneath first item. Export Apex wire logs. I embed certified digital timestamps proving data came directly from banking servers, not manual alteration. He'll say timestamps are fake. He can try. Dante's tone went cold. I hold advanced certification from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. If he questions my digital seal, he questions the regulatory board. He won't risk that. Understanding Dawn, she was seeing strategy, how pieces protected each other. Dante mapped the next 4 hours in 15-minute increments. Specific tasks, achievable goals. structure to channel her brilliance without crushing pressure. When finished, he set down the pen. 4 hours, 53 minutes. Clear understanding. She looked at the pen, then him. Panic gone. Something harder. More focused. Crystal clear. They went to war. The suite transformed into command bunker. Laptops multiplied. Hard drives clicked. Data pulled from servers locked behind encryption. Dante bypassed with unexplained tools. Margot drafted narrative. Sharp language laying out fraud mechanisms. Who authorized what? When? How much? Why pattern proved intent? Dante built evidence chains. Every wire linked to source documents. Every invoice to approval emails. Proof webs so dense that pulling threads only tightened others. They spoke only to exchange information. Only sounds typing rain, occasional paper rustle. 7:45, Margot sent the email. Subject, retimeline change, confirmed. Body, thank you for expedited schedule. Audit findings are comprehensive and ready. Looking forward to presenting at noon. She sat back. That'll make him nervous. Good. Nervous people make mistakes. At 8:15, a knock. Dante's head snapped up. Hand moved automatically to small of his back. Glock 43 in concealed holster. He'd retrieved it from hotel safe at 4 a.m. while Margot slept and couldn't ask why forensic accountants traveled armed. Margot started to stand. Dante raised one hand. Stay there. He checked the peephole. Young man in hotel uniform. Room service cart. But the face made Dante's blood cold. Dominic, last night's desk clerk. Different uniform now. Expression carrying something new. Recognition. Dante opened the door, didn't step back. Filled the doorway, blocking suite view. We didn't order room service. Dominic's smile was thin. Compliments of Mr. Rossi. Wanted to ensure you both had breakfast. Message clear. Luca knew exactly where they were. Dominic confirming visual contact. Reporting back. Tell Mr. Rossi thank you, Dante said. Voice soft, razor-edged. Tell him I'll call when ready. Something flickered in Dominic's eyes. Uncertainty. He hadn't expected acknowledgement. He's concerned about timeline. I'm sure he is. Dante didn't move. Anything else? Dominic glanced past Dante's shoulder, trying to see inside. Dante shifted, blocking sightlines. Message received. Dismissed. No, sir. Enjoy breakfast. He pushed the cart away. Dante watched him elevatorward, watched doors close, then retreated inside. Locked door. Engaged deadbolt and security latch. When he turned, Margot stood behind him. Face pale, voice steady. That wasn't about breakfast. No. He walked to windows, looked down. Black sedan idling curbside. Dominic emerged moments later, got in passenger seat. Margot came beside him. Not too close. Close enough to feel her presence like heat. Who is Mr. Rossi? This was the moment. Dante could lie. Maintain fiction. Tell her Luca was just another corporate criminal. But standing here with 5 hours left and war brewing, and Margot looking at him with two intelligent eyes, he found he didn't want to lie anymore. Luca Rossi is Vincent Caruso's cousin, Dante said. Eyes on the street sedan, pulling into traffic. He's the reason you're in danger. I don't understand. Dante turned to face her. Your company's been used. 2 years someone's been running operations through your legitimate shipping. Moving things that shouldn't move. Cleaning money that shouldn't be clean. You were perfect cover, smart enough to run business, too honest to ask wrong questions. Margot's breathing went shallow. Operations. Criminal operations. Yes. And you're not really a forensic accountant. I am a forensic accountant. That part's true, but it's not my primary occupation. Then what is... Dante held her gaze, watched her process, saw understanding click. You're one of them, she breathed. Part of whatever Luca and Vincent are doing. No, harder than intended. Not part of what they're doing, but I am part of that world, the one you're realizing exists beneath your company's surface. Margot stepped back, then another step. Hand came to throat, unconscious protection. I need you to leave. If I leave, you die. Flat, no drama. Fact. Vincent Caruso's already decided. Moment this audit ends, regardless of what it says, you become a liability. Luca has people in Portland now, waiting for the word. I'll call police. And tell them what? Dante's voice stayed calm, almost gentle. You suspect board chairman of fraud, they take a report. Maybe investigate in 3 to 6 months. You're dead in 3 to 6 hours. Margot's back hit the wall. She slid down until sitting knees to chest. Executive armor finally shattered. Dante stayed where he was. Understood the need for space when worldviews collapsed. Why tell me this? Voice small. If I'm dying anyway, why involve yourself? Because you don't deserve this. Truth felt like pulling thorns from his throat. You walked into someone else's trap, spent 3 years honoring your father's legacy, not knowing it was built on sand. Now men like Luca Rossi think they can discard you like garbage because you're inconvenient. He crossed the room, crouched in front of her. Not too close. Close enough she could see his face. Read whatever truth lived there. I'm not a good man, Margot. I've done things that would sicken you. But I still have a code. That code says you don't kill innocent people. Don't punish someone for crimes they didn't commit. Her eyes searched his face. What's your real name? Dante. Dante Marchesi. And what are you really? I run an organization. My family's been in certain businesses 3 generations. Inherited the position 5 years ago when my father died. Luca Rossi is my underboss. Or was until he decided to branch out using your company as infrastructure. So you're Mafia, testing the word, seeing how it felt. Yes. And you came to, what kill me? Find out what Luca was doing. See if you were complicit or clueless. Dante paused. You're clueless, which means you're a victim, which means Luca's elimination plan is murder, not business. Margot's laugh was sharp, bitter. So your code allows murder as long as it's business. My code is complicated, Dante admitted. Not something I expect you to understand or approve. But right now, my code's the only thing keeping you alive. Silence. Outside, rain continued. Somewhere in the city, Luca's people waited. In 4 hours, 17 minutes, Vincent would log into the portal expecting ammunition to destroy Margot Kensington. What do we do? She asked finally. Dante stood, extended his hand. Finish the audit. Give Vincent exactly what he doesn't expect, proof implicating him directly. Make it so airtight even Luca can't spin it. She looked at his hand long, then reached up, took it, fingers cold in his grip. He pulled her up. They stood close, a heartbeat, connected by clasped hands and terrible knowledge. Why are you helping me? Because you remind me not everyone in this world is corrupt. Dante released her hand slowly. Maybe I'm tired of adding to corruption. Something shifted in her expression. Fear didn't disappear, but was joined by something else. Determination. Desperate courage when options were exhausted. Okay, she said. Let's burn Vincent Caruso to the ground. They returned to the table. Work took new urgency. Margot understood stakes now. Every keystroke was weapon being forged. Every transaction was ammunition. 9:30, Dante's encrypted phone buzzed. Marco, Luca asking direct questions, says you've gone dark, getting dangerous. Dante typed, let him ask, handle it. 10:15, Margot's phone rang. Screen showed Vincent's name. Don't answer, Dante said, let him sweat. 4 rings to voicemail. 30 seconds later, text, need to discuss audit findings before submission. Call me. Margot showed the screen. He's panicking. Good, we're almost done. 20 minutes. Synchronized silence. Only rain typing distant thunder as another storm cell approached. 10:43, 17 minutes before deadline, lights flickered. Dante's head snapped up. Overhead fixtures dimmed, brightened, dimmed. Building electrical hum changed pitch. What's happening? Lights flickered violently. Once, twice. Suite plunged into darkness. Sudden silence was deafening. No computer fans. No refrigerator. No electrical buzz. Just rain and 2 people breathing. Dante's laptop screen provided only light, small, blue glow from battery backup. He looked at taskbar. Wi-Fi icon disappeared. Red X over network connection. Storm knocked out the power grid. Dante pulled out his phone. No cellular data. Towers down or congested with emergency traffic. They had the summary, the proof, everything needed, but no way to upload it. Lorenzo, I mean Dante, the Wi-Fi. I know. We can't submit without network. I know. Vincent will see blank portal at noon. File suspension. Say I failed documentation. Game over. Dante heard her stand, walk to windows. In dim emergency lighting from hallway, he saw her silhouette against glass. I gave up everything for this company, she said quietly. Missed my sister's wedding years ago. Haven't taken vacation in 4 years. Thought if I worked hard enough, was perfect enough, they couldn't touch me. Forehead pressed cold glass. But it doesn't matter. They always find a way. Dante stood, crossed the room, stopped 2 feet behind her, close enough to be felt, far enough to maintain distance. Hotel has backup generator. It'll kick in. Not for Wi-Fi. Voice hollow. Just emergency lights, elevators. I know commercial systems. She was right. Backup would restore minimal functions. Data infrastructure would stay down until main grid returned. Could take hours. Vincent would log in at noon. See nothing. File suspension. Then Luca's people would get green light. Dante's phone buzzes. One signal bar appeared. Enough for texts. Message from Luca. Dominic confirms you're with the Kensington woman. What's your play cousin going soft cousin? Luca had never called him that. Power move. Reminding blood supposedly mattered more than business. But Luca stole from family. Already broke the blood oath. Dante deleted the message. Opened new. Typed carefully. Might be the only text getting through before signal died. Recipient wasn't Luca. Marco. Need emergency satellite uplink. Morrison Grand Hotel Suite 2847. Next 15 minutes. Whatever it costs. Sent. Watch progress bar crawl. Message delivered seconds before signal died. Margot had turned from window. Who did you text? Someone who can help. Dante pocketed phone. Hotel Wi-Fi's down. But satellite uplink isn't dependent on city infrastructure. You can get satellite internet 15 minutes. I can get many things in 15 minutes if I'm willing to pay. He returned to table, began powering equipment on battery backup. When Marco arrives, we upload through his mobile hotspot. Slower than hotel Wi-Fi, but it'll work. Who's Marco? My consigliere advisor, person I trust more than anyone in the organization. She absorbed this. You're calling in the Mafia to help me file corporate audit documentation. Yes. That's insane. Welcome to my world. Despite everything, darkness, deadline, danger, Margot laughed. Short, sharp, but genuine. I spent 3 years learning corporate politics, networking, strategic alliances, careful emails. None of it prepared me for this. Corporate politics and organized crime aren't that different, Dante said. Both about power. Both require reading people. Both punish mistakes. Except in your world, punishment is permanent. Not always, sometimes just expensive. He compressed audit files for faster upload. But yes, stakes are higher. Knock at door. 3 sharp raps, pause, 2 more. Pattern. Dante cross-checked peephole. Even in dim emergency light, he recognized Marco. 47. Built like a boxer. Silver threading dark hair. Expensive suit, metallic briefcase, definitely not containing legal documents. Dante opened the door. Marco stepped inside, took one look at Margot by windows, raised an eyebrow. This is the civilian, you know. Her name is Margot Kensington, Dante said. She's about to testify against Luca Rossi without knowing it. Marco set briefcase on table, popped it open. Inside, satellite uplink, device size of hardcover book, festooned with antennas and blinking lights. Battery powered, good for 30 minutes data transfer. After that, you're alone. He pulled out second device portable Wi-Fi hotspot. This creates local network. Connect laptop, upload files. Satellite handles rest. Marco's eyes shifted to Margot. You know what he is. I do now, she said quietly. And you're okay with this. I'm not okay with any of this, but I'm also not okay with dying, so here we are. Marco's mouth twitched. Might have been a smile. She's got spine. He activated satellite uplink. Device weird to life, antennas adjusting automatically for optimal signal. 90 seconds later, portable Wi-Fi hotspot blinked green. You're live, Marco said. Clock's ticking. Dante didn't waste time. Connected laptop to new network, initiated upload to compliance portal. Progress bar appeared. 1%, 2%. Satellite slower than broadband. But working. Margot leaned over his shoulder. How long, Mom? 8 to 10 minutes full package. We'll make it. Marco pulled Dante aside, low tones. Luca's making moves. Tried calling emergency council meeting tomorrow. Wants to discuss leadership concerns. Let him try, Dante said quietly. By tomorrow I'll have proof he's been skimming. Kills any political capital. And the woman, what's the play? Dante glanced at Margot, watching upload progress, arms wrapped around herself. In dim emergency lighting, she looked smaller, more vulnerable, but she hadn't run, hadn't collapsed. Still here, still fighting. The play is I keep her alive. Marco studied him long. That's going to start a war. I know. Is she worth it? Dante didn't answer immediately. Thought about the past 12 hours, Margot's quiet competence, refusal to give up, strange ability to look at him without flinching. How she'd trusted him with company career life before knowing what he was somehow even after. Yes, he said finally. She's worth it. Marco sighed. Then I'm with you. But we move fast once this audit drops. Luca will retaliate. Upload hits 70%, 80. Progress bar moves steadily while three people stood in darkened suite watching numbers climb towards salvation. 11:57, 3 minutes to spare, upload completed. 100%. Submission confirmed. Margot made a sound between laugh and sob. We did it. Dante closed laptop. Now we wait. Marco packed equipment. I'll have people watching hotel. If Luca's crew moves, you'll have warning. Thank you. Marco paused at door, looked at Margot again. Whatever happens next, you should know, he doesn't do this. Doesn't risk organization for civilians. So whatever you are to him, it matters. Then gone. Disappeared into emergency lit hallway like smoke. Margot and Dante stood in darkness. Silence stretched between them, heavy with everything that happened and everything still coming. What now? Now we wait for Vincent to open the portal, Dante said. See what he does when he realizes he's been outmaneuvered. Margot walked back to windows. Rain had intensified again, sheets turning city into impressionist painting. Will he know it was you that you helped? Eventually. And Luca will know too. Yes. So you've made yourself a target, for me. Dante joined her at window. They stood side by side watching storm. I made myself a target when I decided you were worth protecting. Everything after is just logistics. She turned to look at him, in dim light, eyes very dark. Why, you barely know me. I'm just some CEO you were hired to investigate. You're not just anything, Dante said quietly. You're the first person in 20 years who looked at me and saw someone who might be capable of good. Maybe I wanted to prove you right. Space between them felt charged, electric. I'm afraid, she whispered. I know. Not just of Vincent and Luca. Afraid of this. Of you. Of what it means that I trust you when I probably shouldn't. Dante understood. He was afraid too. Of what he'd set in motion. Of the war coming. Of how Margot Kensington had become the most important thing in his carefully controlled world. Fear is rational, he said, but so is survival. Right now, trusting me is your best chance. Her phone buzzed. Email notification from audit portal. Submission received and logged. Review in progress. Done. Evidence filed. Trap set. Now they just had to survive what came next. The call came 12:17 Saturday afternoon. Margot's phone lit with conference line number. For a moment, she just stared. You don't have to be afraid, Dante said from his window position. He'd been watching the street since upload completed, focused attention of a man expecting violence. They can't touch you now. Evidence is logged. They can still destroy me. Voice steady despite the tremor beneath. Even if audit clears me, Vincent controls the board. Can vote me out anyway. Then you make him choose between political capital and freedom. Dante turned to face her. Answer the call. Let them see what happens when they underestimate you. Margot took a breath, held 3 counts, answered. Put it on speaker, set phone on table between them. Margot Kensington present. Voice carried crisp authority of someone who'd spent years in boardrooms where weakness meant losing everything. Miss Kensington. Bernard Ashford, board's senior independent director. 72 3 decades shipping logistics, possessed of moral flexibility that made him valuable in corporate politics. Thank you for making yourself available on short notice. Of course, I understand the committee reviewed audit findings. We have. Pause. Paper rustling. Documentation is comprehensive. Margot's eyes met Dante's. He gave small nod. Comprehensive was good. Meant they couldn't ignore it. Forensic analysis identifies several concerning patterns. Bernard continued. Wire transfers to shells, falsified invoices, systematic procurement manipulation. Miss Kensington, can you explain how these occurred without your knowledge? The trap. Vincent probably coached Bernard on this questioning, make it sound like negligence. But Dante had prepared her. Transactions were authorized by board chairman Vincent Caruso, Margot said clearly. Audit documentation includes email evidence showing Mr. Caruso directed procurement to expedite payments without verification protocols. Timestamps on those directives correspond directly to fraudulent wires. Silence. Long enough Dante heard someone breathing, shallow, nervous. That's a serious allegation, Bernard said finally. It's documented fact, Margot replied. The forensic accountant conducting this audit holds advanced certification from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. Every evidence piece includes digital authentication. If the board questions methodology, I'm happy to have him join this call. Dante stayed silent, but allowed himself smallest smile. Margot was learning, using his credentials as shield, turning manufactured expertise into armor. Where is Vincent? Another voice. Margaret Chensi, F.O. Vincent, appointed 6 months ago. Shouldn't chairman be on this call? Mr. Caruso was invited, Bernard said stiffly. He declined to participate. Of course, Vincent knew evidence was damning, probably 3 states away, consulting lawyers figuring which offshore account to flee to. Committee has reviewed findings, Bernard said. Voice had changed, less aggressive, more careful. Miss Kensington, based on documentation provided, it appears you were not complicit in fraudulent activities. In fact, you appear deliberately excluded from authorization chain. Margot's shoulders dropped half an inch. Relief, vindication, what she'd been fighting for. However, Bernard continued, and Dante's jaw tightened. Always a however. Board has questions about timing. You hired this accountant 3 weeks ago, correct? Yes. Yet these transactions occurred nearly 2 years. Why didn't you catch them sooner? Fair question, dangerous. Could still justify removing her. Dante leaned forward, spoke before Margot could. Lorenzo Castellano, lead auditor. May I address that? Go ahead. Fraud was structured specifically to avoid standard detection, Dante Baum said. Voice calm, academic, someone who understood numbers better than people. Individual transactions stayed below automatic review thresholds. Perpetrator had board-level authority, meaning standard oversight didn't apply. Miss Kensington only discovered pattern when she conducted comprehensive variance analysis, which she initiated herself, not from external complaint or regulatory pressure. She saw anomalies and investigated. That's not negligence. That's due diligence. Another pause. Dante could almost hear board members recalculating positions. Committee finds Miss Kensington acted appropriately given available information, Bernard said finally. Audit is accepted. Division is cleared. We will pursue legal action against former board chairman Vincent Caruso. Former, past tense. Margot closed her eyes. Thank you. However, Bernard said again, board requests your formal presence at Monday's emergency session to discuss structural oversight changes. We'll need your input on preventing future incidents. I'll be there. Good. This call is concluded. Line went dead. Margot sat very still long, then stood, walked to bedroom, closed door behind her. Dante heard lock click. Footsteps cross far side. Muffled sound that might have been crying or laughing or both. He gave privacy. Returned to Windows, pulled out encrypted phone. 3 messages from Marco. All variations. Luca is on the move. Dante called back. Where is he? No preamble. Downtown, 4 guys with him, asking questions at hotels. Marco's voice tight. Boss, he knows you're protecting the woman. Not happy. Let me worry about Luca. He called another council meeting tomorrow night. Mandatory attendance. Which meant Luca making power play, calling favors, trying to turn family against Dante. Accusations would be simple. Young Don gone soft. Chosen civilian over family loyalty. Exposed operations to save woman he barely knew. All true. I'll handle counsel, Dante said. Just keep his crew away from this hotel. Already done. Eyes on every entrance. Pause. Dante, what's endgame? You planning to eliminate Luca? Dante looked out at rain-soaked city. In his world, betrayal had one penalty. Luca stole from family, put operations at risk, tried orchestrating unauthorized killing. Any offense justified permanent removal. But if Dante killed Luca now, it would look like covering up exposure. Council would fracture. Half would support him. Half would see weakness. Civil war would follow. No, Dante said quietly. I let evidence destroy him. Let council see he's been skimming. Let them vote him out. And then he lives unless he makes another move. Then all bets off. Marco was silent moment. You're playing dangerous games. I've been playing dangerous games since 23, Dante said. This is just one more. He ended call as bedroom door opened. Margot emerged, eyes red but dry. Changed clothes, dark jeans, soft cream sweater, making her look elegant and approachable. They cleared me. Testing words, seeing if they felt real. Yes. Vincent's gone. For now. She sat heavily at dining table. What happens to him legally? Criminal charges, wire fraud, embezzlement. If smart, plea deal, 10 to 15 years probably. Dante joined her. If stupid, he runs. Then other people find him before FBI does. Other people meaning you. Other people meaning the organization he betrayed working with Luca. She absorbed this. And Luca, what happens harmless depends what he does next. Dante's phone buzzed. He glanced, expression hardening. Speak of the devil. Text from unknown number. Dante recognized Luca's style. Need to talk, face to face, Morrison Grand 4 p.m. Come alone or I bring the boys. He showed Margot. He's coming here. Now why? He knows I have evidence against him, hoping to negotiate before I present to counsel. Dante stood, walked to overnight bag, pulled out Glock-checked magazine. 15 rounds, more than enough. Margot's eyes went wide. You're not going to show... I'm not shooting him in a hotel suite, Dante said calmly. But I'm also not meeting him unarmed. This is conversation, but conversations in my world sometimes escalate. I should leave. No. Solid gun into waistband holster. You stay, behind locked bedroom door if you want, but don't leave this suite, not until I know Luca's play. 3:57 knock at door. 3 sharp raps. No pattern, no code. Aggressive announcement of someone who didn't care about subtlety. Dante checked peephole. Luca stood in a hallway, 2 men flanking, both large. Both had particular stance of people who carried weapons and knew how to use them. Dante unlocked door, left security chain engaged. You said alone. And you said you'd handle Kensington's situation. Luca's voice carried anger wrapped in false joviality. Guess we both lied. Dante considered options. Let them in, risk violence before Margot. Keep them in hallway, risk attracting attention. Neither ideal. He removed chain, stepped back. 5 minutes. Luca entered first. Shorter than Dante's stockier face, perpetually suspicious. Behind came 2 enforcers, Tony and Sal brothers, with family 15 years. Good soldiers. Loyal to whoever paid. Luca's eyes found Margot immediately. At dining table, laptop open, trying to look like she was working. But Dante saw her hands shaking slightly. So this is famous Miss Kensington, Luca said. Smiled. Didn't reach eyes. Woman worth starting war over. Miss Kensington is a client, Dante said evenly. Nothing more. A client, Luca laughed. Dante, I've known you since 16. You don't risk exposure for clients. Sure as hell don't go dark on family for clients. So either you're lying or you've completely lost your mind. Dante didn't rise to bait. What do you want, Luca? Understand what's happening here. Luca gestured at suite at Margot at laptop still spread. Vincent calls yesterday panicking. Says you're in Portland with Kensington woman. Says you're helping her audit the company. Our company, Dante. One we've been using to clean money 2 years. Your operation, Dante corrected. Not mine. I never authorized using Kensington imports. You authorized cleaning operations. I just found better venue. You found a venue and got sloppy. Then decided to eliminate witnesses instead of cleaning up properly. Luca's expression hardened. She knows too much. She knows nothing, Dante said. She found discrepancies in financials. Hired auditor. Auditor found fraud. That's extent of her knowledge. Doesn't know what you were moving through shipping channels. Doesn't know who you work for. She's civilian caught in crossfire. Then why protect her? Luca stepped closer. Why risk everything for some CE who means nothing? Fair question. One Dante had been asking himself 24 hours. Answer was complicated. Involved how Margot looked at him without flinching. How she'd trusted before knowing what he was. How she represented something clean in his dirty world. But Luca wouldn't understand. So Dante gave him answerable truth. Because you betrayed the family, Dante said quietly. I pulled financial records, Luca. All of them. You've been skimming. $250,000 over 18 months. Moving to offshore accounts in your girlfriend's name. Luca's face went pale. That's a lie. Documented fact. Dante pulled flash drive from pocket. Bank records, wire transfer logs, shell company filings. I have everything. Tomorrow night, when you call that council meeting, questioning my leadership, I'm presenting this evidence. Let them decide who's the real betrayer. 2 enforcers shifted uncomfortably. Tony's hand moved toward jacket. Dante's hand moved to his own weapon, still concealed it back. Don't, Dante said softly. You pull that gun, we all die. And for what? Because Luca got caught stealing. Tony's hand stopped. Tension suffocating. Luca's jaw worked. You can't prove skimming was intentional. Accounting errors happen. 273,000 in accounting errors. Dante's voice stayed calm, almost bored. Luca, please, don't insult me. Council won't believe you over me. Let's find out tomorrow night. Dante crossed arms. But right now you have choice. Walk away from Miss Kensington. Let her live her life. Maybe I don't present all evidence. Maybe just enough to remove you from operations without criminal charges. You're offering a deal. Offering mercy. More than you were offering her. Luca looked at Margot. She'd gone very still, hands flat on table. And she just walks away, knows nothing, says nothing. She signs NDA, Dante said. Legal and binding. Keeps quiet about everything she suspects you keep freedom. Everybody wins. Lie, of course. Dante had no intention letting Luca stay, evidence too damning. But right now, this moment, he needed Luca backing down, leaving hotel without violence. Luca studied Dante's face long, looking for deception, trying to read the play, finally nodded slowly. Okay, girl lives. We settle this council meeting tomorrow. Agreed. Luca gestured to Tony and Sal. Let's go. They filed out. Door clicked shut. Dante engaged all three locks, then leaned against door, exhaling slowly. Is it over? Margot's voice barely whispered. No, Dante said, but paused, for now. Before more could be said, Margot's phone rang. She looked at screen, expression shifted. It's my sister, she answered. Gianna, what's wrong? Dante heard crying through speaker. Young panicked. Margot's face went pale. What do you mean venue canceled? Wedding is tomorrow. They can't just, she listened. They said what? Concerns about payment. Gianna, I confirmed that deposit 3 weeks ago. Cold certainty settled in Dante's chest. Not coincidence. Luca sending message. You protected the CEO, so I'll destroy what she cares about. No, don't cancel. I'll fix this, promise. Just give me few hours. She ended call, looked at Dante with devastation. Wedding venue. Canceled. Gianna and Michael planned 18 months. 200 guests. Ceremony tomorrow, 3 p.m. Luca did this. How? Probably had someone call venue, say financial problems, threaten legal action. Venues don't want drama. Easier to cancel refund deposit. Can you fix it? Words came desperate, pleading. Dante thought about Marco's words earlier. Is she worth it? This civilian worth starting war. He pulled out phone. Who are you calling? Someone who owes me favor. Call connected, 2 rings. Castellano. Consulting, this is Adriana. Adriana, it's Dante. Need event venue in Portland. Tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock, capacity 200. Full catering, flowers, music. Whatever it cost my account. Tomorrow, voice registered shock. Mr. Marchese, that's less than 24 hours. I know what it is. Can you do it or not? Pause. Give me 30 minutes. Dante ended call. Margot was staring. You're using your connections to save my sister's wedding. Yes. Why, because Luca took something from you to hurt me. Makes it my responsibility to fix. Margot stood cross-room, stopped directly before him. Close enough Dante could see gold flecks in brown eyes. You're going to war with your underboss, she said quietly, risking your position, your organization. All of it. For me. Yes. That's insane. Probably. I don't understand you. Voice cracked slightly. Yesterday you were Lorenzo Castellano, forensic accountant. Safe. Professional. Today, you're Dante Marchese, mob boss, and you're still protecting me. Dante could have lied. Given tactical answer, strategic explanation about leverage and optics in minimizing exposure. But standing this close, seeing confusion and fear and something else in her eyes, something that looked like trust she shouldn't have, but couldn't help giving, he found he didn't want to lie anymore. Because you looked at me like I could be better than what I am, he said quietly, and I wanted to prove you right. Margot's hand came up. Fingers touched his jaw, gentle and tentative. You're not what you think you are. I'm exactly what I think I am. No. Thumb traced line of his cheekbone. You're the man who worked all night so I could sleep, made me eat when I was shaking, risked everything to save my company career life. That's not a monster, Dante. That's good man trapped in bad situation. I've killed people, Margot, not self-defense, not heat of moment, planned executions. Does that sound like good man Stecker? Sounds like someone doing what they thought necessary to survive in world they were born into. Her hand didn't move. But you don't have to keep being that person. You can choose something different. Dante wanted to believe 20 years of violence and corruption could be washed away by one woman's faith in his redemption potential. But he knew better. Stains on his soul were permanent. Things he'd done couldn't be undone. Still, standing here with Margot's hand on his face and her eyes seeing something that maybe possibly might be worth saving, he wanted to try. His phone rang. Adriana, I have 3 venues tomorrow. Sentinel Hotel, Rose Garden, Pearl District Gallery, or Cascade Manor Estate. Which is best? Cascade Manor, estate grounds covered pavilion for rain full-service catering on retainer. Had cancellation tomorrow, can fit you in. Book it, whatever they want. Done. Contract signed within hour. What name for reservation? Dante looked at Margot. Kensington, Gianna Kensington. He ended call. Your sister's wedding is Cascade Manor Estate. 3 p.m. tomorrow. Everything's arranged. Margot's eyes filled with tears. How much did that cost? Does it matter? Yes, I can't let you pay. Consider it apology, Dante said, for bringing my world into yours. Tear escaped down her cheek. She didn't wipe it. Thank you. Call your sister. Tell her it's handled. Margot pulled out phone with shaking hands, stepped away to call. Dante heard her voice break telling Gianna news, heard sister's shocked joy through speaker. When Margot returned, she wasn't crying anymore. But expression had changed, softened, like something shifted in how she saw him. I need to ask you something, she said. Need you to tell truth. All right, this thing between us, this protection, partnership, whatever it is. When this is over, when Luca's dealt with and wedding's done and I'm safe, do you disappear? Go back to your world and pretend I never existed. Dante considered lying. Would be easier. Kinder maybe. Let her think this was temporary. Crisis-born connection fading when danger passed. But he found he couldn't. I don't know, he said honestly. Don't know how to reconcile what I am with what you make me want to be. But I know I don't want to disappear. Know that thought of walking away from you feels wrong in ways I don't have words for. Margot stepped closer. Then don't walk away. You don't know what you're asking. I'm asking for honesty, presence, my son. For the man who's been sitting across from me 36 hours protecting me, challenging me, seeing me. Voice dropped to whisper. I'm asking for you, Dante. Not the mob boss, not enforcer, you. They're the same person, or no, but them, she said firmly. They're parts of same person. And I'm asking for the part that made me coffee and let me sleep and fought for my company like it mattered. Dante's hand came up almost without conscious thought. Fingers threaded through her hair, dark silk against his palm. If I stay in your life, I bring danger. People like Luca. Situations like this. Never stops Margot. There's always another crisis. Then we face them together. You're asking me to let you into a world that destroys good people. I'm asking you to let me stand beside you while you become better than that world wants you to be. Logic was flawed, plan impossible, but standing there with Margot looking at him like he was worth redeeming, Dante found he wanted to believe anyway. He leaned down. She rose up. When their lips met, it wasn't desperate or urgent. It was quiet, certain. Kiss that felt like promise being made. When they broke apart, Margot's forehead rested against his. What happens tomorrow at council meeting? I present evidence. Luca betrayed family. Council votes him out. He loses position, authority, protection. And then he either accepts exile peacefully or doesn't. And if he doesn't, I do what needs doing. Which is, Dante pulled back slightly to look in her eyes, which is whatever it takes to make sure you stay safe. Even if that means crossing lines I've been trying not to cross. She absorbed this. I don't want you to kill for me. I won't kill for you, Dante said quietly. But I will kill to protect you. There's difference. Is there? To me, yes. They stood in silence. Outside rain had finally stopped. Weak sunlight broke through clouds, turning wet streets into rivers of light. Come with me tomorrow, Margot said suddenly. To the wedding. Margot, I know it's complicated. I know you have council meeting. But ceremony's at 3. Meeting isn't until evening, right? You could come. Meet my sister. See what normal people do, Sundays. Dante wanted to refuse. Wanted to maintain boundary between his world and hers, but hope in her eyes was impossible to resist. All right, he said, I'll come to the wedding. Sunday afternoon arrived with unexpected sunshine. Storm had passed completely, leaving Portland, washed clean and gleaming. Dante drove Margot to Cascade Manor in rented car, something anonymous and unremarkable. He wore dark suit without tie, trying to look like normal wedding guest rather than what he was. Estate was beautiful. Manicured lawns rolled to small lake. White chairs in perfect rows facing flower-draped arbor. Guests milled in cocktail attire laughing and talking. Margot's sister found them immediately. Jana was 28, blonde, where Margot was dark petite, where her sister was tall, wore a white dress that probably cost more than most cars, looked radiantly happy. Margot, she threw arms around her sister. Thank you. Thank you for fixing everything. Was ready to get married in parking lot, I swear. You're welcome. Margot hugged back fiercely. When they separated, she gestured to Dante. This is Lorenzo. He helped arrange venue. Jana turned to Dante with tears. I don't know how to thank you. Congratulations on your marriage, Dante said simply. That's thanks enough. Ceremony was simple and lovely. Groom Michael, architect with kind eyes and nervous smile, cried when Jana walked down aisle. Vows were traditional but heartfelt. When officiant pronounced them, married applause was genuine and joyful. Dante stood at back watching Margot watch her sister. Such love in her expression, such pride. This was what she'd been protecting all along. Not just company, not just father's legacy, but family, sister's happiness, things that mattered beyond balance sheets and board meetings. During reception, Gianna pulled Dante aside. Wanted to thank you properly, she said. Margot told me you did something extraordinary. It was nothing. It wasn't nothing. Eyes were shrewd, too knowing for someone so young. My sister spent 3 years married to that company, missed birthdays, holidays, important moments, and she's never ever brought anyone to family event. But she brought you. Dante didn't know what to say. So whatever this is between you two, Gianna continued, it matters to her, which means it matters to me. Take care of her, okay? She acts tough, but she's been hurt before, and I don't think she'd survive being hurt again. I won't hurt her, Dante said. Only promise he could make with certainty. Gianna studied his face. I believe you. As sun set, casting golden light across Lake, Dante and Margot stood together at edge of crowd. Watched couples dance. Watched Gianna and Michael cut cake. Watched normal people celebrate normal happiness. Thank you for coming, Margot said quietly. I know this isn't your world. No, Dante agreed, but maybe it could be, someday. She turned to look at him. You mean that? I don't know how to get there from here, but I want to try, Mom. 7 p.m. Dante's phone buzzed. Marco, council meeting 1 hour. You need to be there. It was time. Dante drove Margot back to hotel. They didn't speak much, both lost in thoughts of what came next. At suite, Margot caught his hand before he could leave. Be careful. Always. And Dante, whatever happens tonight, you don't have to prove anything to them, and you already proved everything that matters to me. He kissed her. Quickly, fiercely, then left before he could change his mind about what needed doing. Council meeting was in private room at Italian restaurant family owned. 12 men around table. Luca at one end, Dante at other, Marco standing behind Dante's chair like silent sentinel. Let's begin, said Giovanni, eldest council member. Luca called this meeting to address leadership concerns. Luca, you have floor. Luca stood. I'll be brief. Our young Don's been making decisions, putting family at risk. Exposed operations to protect civilian. Went dark on communications. Prioritized personal interests over organizational security. Murmurs around table. Not quite agreement, not quite disagreement. Do you deny these allegations? Giovanni asked Dante. No, Dante said calmly, but I have context to provide. He pulled out flash drive, inserted it into laptop connected to room's projector. While Luca's been questioning my leadership, I've been investigating his operations. What I found was interesting. First document appeared on screen. Bank records, wire transfers, numbers that didn't lie. Over past 18 months, Luca diverted $273,000 from family operations into personal accounts. Shell companies registered to his girlfriend. Luxury purchases hidden in operational expenses. He didn't just steal from partners. He stole from us. Room went silent. Every eye on Luca. That's fabricated, Luca said, but voice lacked conviction. Bank records are authenticated, Dante said. Dates match operational reports Luca himself submitted. Unless he's claiming I somehow went back in time and altered his own paperwork. Giovanni leaned forward. Luca, is this true? I can explain yes or no. Luca's jaw worked. Expenses were legitimate business costs. That you hid from family, Dante interrupted. Filtered through shell companies to avoid oversight. Benefited from personally while reporting losses to us. Council members were looking at Luca now with something between disgust and calculation. In their world, stealing from family was ultimate sin, worse than cooperating with law enforcement, worse than almost anything except direct betrayal. I propose that we vote, Dante said. Luca Rossi removed from position as underboss. Operations reassigned. 48 hours to leave state, permanently. That's exile, Luca said. Face had gone pale. That's mercy, Dante replied. Be grateful I'm not proposing the alternative. Giovanni looked around table. All in favor. 11 hands rose. Even Luca's closest allies voted against him. Evidence too damning, betrayal too clear. Motion carries, Giovanni said. Luca Rossi, you are hereby removed from position. You have 48 hours to conclude affairs and depart. If you remain after that time, you will be considered enemy of family. Luca stood slowly, looked at Dante with pure hatred. This isn't over. Yes, Dante said quietly. It is. Luca left. Footsteps echoed in hallway. Door slammed. Giovanni turned to Dante. That took courage, challenging him directly. That took evidence, Dante corrected. Courage would have been doing it without proof. Meeting concluded. Council members filed out. Marco waited until they were alone before speaking. That was well done, he said. Clean, decisive, no blood. There's still time for blood, Dante said. Luca won't go quietly. We'll watch him. If he makes move, we'll know. Dante returned to Hotel 11 p.m., expected Margot asleep. Instead, she sat by windows, still wearing dress from wedding watching city lights. She turned when he entered. How did it go? Luca's out, exile, 48 hours to leave. Relief washed across her face. It's really over. The immediate crisis, yes, but Margot, you need to understand. I'm still who I am. Still run organization. There will always be another Luca, another crisis, another situation where my world bleeds into yours. I know. She stood cross to him. And I'm choosing it anyway. Choosing you. If you'll have me. Dante pulled her into his arms. She fit there perfectly, like she'd been designed for exactly this space. I don't deserve you, he murmured into her hair. Maybe not, but you're getting me anyway. 3 months later, Margot's company had restructured. New board members, new oversight protocols. Fraud investigation concluded with Vincent Caruso serving plea deal 12 years federal prison. Dante had slowly begun shifting Marchese operations toward legitimate business. Long process. Complicated. But he had time. And he had Margot reminding him daily that redemption was possible if you were willing to work for it. The journey wasn't smooth. 2 of Dante's longtime associates had quit rather than go legitimate. A rival family tried testing his resolve. Dante had to make one harsh example to prove he wasn't weak, just strategic. Margot struggled watching him walk that line between who he was and who he wanted to become. But they were building something. Slowly. Carefully. They kept Portland Hotel Suite as anniversary location. Once a month, they came back. Worked side by side at same dining table where they'd first built trust over spreadsheets and coffee. On this particular Sunday morning, Margot woke early and found Dante already awake sitting by windows with laptop. Working, she asked. Always. He smiled and closed laptop. Come here. She crossed to him. He pulled her into his lap. They sat together watching sunrise over Portland, comfortable in silence. Do you ever regret it, Margot asked, choosing me over the easy path? Every day, Dante said honestly. Then at her stricken look continued, but I regret the alternative more. Life without you in it isn't worth living, even if it's safer. That's not very romantic. I'm not very romantic man, but I'm yours, completely, and that has to count for something. Margot turned to kiss him. It counts for everything. And in that hotel suite where they'd first learned to trust each other, where crisis had forged partnership and partnership had become love, they sat together watching new day begin. The foundation held. Just like Dante had promised it would. Just like Margot had believed it could. Together. Not perfectly, not easily, but with the kind of stubborn determination that built things meant to last. The rain would come again. Storms always did. But they'd learned something in 72 hours that changed everything when you find someone worth fighting for. You don't let the weather determine the outcome. You build shelter. You hold steady. You prove that some foundations are strong enough to weather anything. Even when one of you is a mob boss trying to go legitimate. Even when the other is a CEO learning that love sometimes means embracing complicated truths. Even when the world says it shouldn't work. They made it work anyway, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one cup of black coffee at a time, together.